What about flag football? That's up next. Where does it look like this is with these owners? And is it going to be how many players on a team? At first, I thought it was one, and then, Chris is like, it's the whole squad. I mean, what are we looking at here?
Well, I think you first have to go to the reasoning for this, which, like football's a really hard game to export because of the equipment, the insurance, the violence of the game, the number of people that you need just to play an actual football game. It's not like soccer or basketball where you can export those sports very easily. All you need is a bag of balls and either a goal or a hoop, and you're good to go. So, I think for the NFL, like as long as kids aren't playing it overseas, it limits their growth. So how can you work around that? Well, you can legitimize another version of the game, which is flag. So they've been doing everything they can to try to legitimize flag football as something more than just a sidecar to the actual sport, which is I think how we all grew up with it is sort of like like a bastardized version of the actual sport. And so they've done that by trying to put it in high schools as a varsity sport. They've done it by trying to like incorporate that version of the game overseas, and then eventually they wound up getting it in the Olympics. And so how this is going to work, I think, is interesting because it's such a different game than actual tackle football. And I think there are a lot of questions that need to be answered on that. Like, okay, so like let's say you have one player from your team that wants to play for Team USA, but then there's another country that wants another player. Is this going to be a situation like you saw in Olympic baseball once, where I think Mike Piazza, I might be wrong about this, guys, didn't he play for the Italian Olympic baseball team? Isn't that right?
That sounds right.
I think that's right, right? Like so for guys who aren't on the US team, then are they free to play for like the Team Italy, Team France, Team England based on their heritage? Like, could they do that? Like, those are all questions that I think we have to go through. And then to me, like the big broad question here is, are we really going to be that much better than everybody else if we're just putting NFL players out there? Or is flag football different enough from the regular from the regular version of the game where it might not be most advantageous to have those guys out there? I think those are all fair questions to ask, and all that stuff is stuff that they're going to have to work through. But this first piece of it is, I mean, more or less like mandating the teams allow their players to play, which I mean, could create real competitive issues in 2028 when you think about how important that run up to training camp is for players and getting themselves ready for the rigors of a 6-month season of tackle football. The fact that they're taking themselves out of that, the fact that they're putting themselves at some risk by playing in another competitive sport.
Some risk. I mean, some risk, a lot of risk.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all remember the Robert Edwards thing, right? In 1997, I think.
Yeah, but that was on the beach, Albert.
It was, but like those are the sorts of movements that you're going to be making. You know what I mean?
Michael Irvin tore an Achilles at some kind of like crap game on the beach, or like set next to the beach at one point. I just think it's
right. I mean, like here's the thing,
it's
Chris,
taking
like,
a lot of risk.
Yeah, Chris, I would say like what anybody with a team would tell you is like there's a reason why we put stuff in the contract like the team isn't responsible if a guy gets hurt playing pickup basketball. Isn't this the same thing? You know what I mean? Team isn't responsible if a guy gets hurt going skiing. Like this feels like the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same. I think this is the Olympics, and the NFL really wants flag football to happen. They've got it to this point already. It's in Los Angeles. I think you're going to see the A+ stars across the board. Lamar Jackson's going to be quarterback. Jamar Chase is going to be playing wide receiver. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be playing on defense. You're going to see all of the stars in this, and I think the teams in the league want it because they want a gold medal to come back to their team that they can show off at the stadium and show off at off-season, season ticket events. You're going to see all of that.
How do you make it even remotely competitive then, though?
That's not the point. The point, this is like 1992
so
Olympic
you want
basketball.
Dream Team? Is that what you want?
This is Dream Team. This is us going out and whacking everybody.
I think that's insane. Do you think that's going to happen?
And I don't know. I don't know if like we'll whack everybody. Honestly, I told this story a little earlier.
There's some Latvian dude that's going to cover Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but
we don't know about.
Flag football is a very different sport. It's very different than regular football.
I'll tell you guys this. This is the dumbest story ever. So I'll preface what I'm about to say with that. But like, I remember when I was in college, we won our fraternity league, and it was a bunch of guys. A bunch of us had played high school football, and so we went out there and we won the fraternity league, basically running like a football offense and a football defense. So then, like, we got like kind of okay, like I wonder if we could go win the Nike League. And so like there was a Nike League in Columbus that we entered in. And when I say we got the brakes beat off us, we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. And flag football at that, like, and this was like a competitive level. Even there, like on like, in some local league, it didn't even look like football. It was laterals, reverses. It was all of this different stuff that they were doing. And, obviously size had nothing to do with your ability to win. I mean, more or less, it was like a bunch of soccer athletes out there, I think is the best way to put it, that were probably most well equipped to play that version of football. So I think that part of it's interesting. It's like, is it necessarily the NFL players that are best equipped for this with a couple of weeks to prepare? Or is it a different type of athlete who had years to prepare for it? Like, I think that's an interesting question to ask if this is going to all come to pass.
I think the biggest thing, too, is these NFL players want to play in it, and they are not going to want to go over there and get embarrassed.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And again, like, I have no idea. I have no idea what this is going to look like. But I can tell you, like, I don't think it's going to look like a football game. Like, I think flag football is a totally different deal.
A lot of laterals, a lot of weird moves. Hey,
a
Albert.
lot of weird stuff that
Yeah. Let me ask you this. If you own the Chiefs, do you want to see your quarterback? Do you want to see your franchise going and playing? No.
I'll send somebody else's players. Like, honestly, like, especially if you're one of these teams that's in a championship window, right? Like, those opportunities to win a championship are precious. And I mean, ask the Colts about that. Those years they had Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck and like what that feels like. Ask the Patriots about that. Like, did we take it for granted for 20 years that we were constantly competing at that level? Like those, like the spot that the Chiefs are in right now, right, on a year-to-year basis, those are precious. And so the opportunity, like the chance that like a year could be flipped upside down by someone getting hurt in one of these situations. I mean, it's a real thing.
Yep.
Like it's a very real thing. And I don't know. Like I look at it like this is your profession. You know what I mean? Like this is your profession. And if you're a professional football player, the idea of going and getting a gold medal is great. Is it worth like risking a chance to compete for a championship when you may only have a few of those? I don't know that I would automatically just run to sign up to play flag football in the Olympics.
It almost seems like the perfect spot for recent retirees, guys who just retired from the league. That's where it looks like it would fit for me. And I love flag football. Taylor plays. I love what the league is doing about getting more girls to play in more varsity sports across the country for men and women. I love that. I think it's great. But if I own a team, there is no way I'm going to let my star quarterback go out there. No chance.
Right. Like the recent retirees thing's interesting. Like, could you put a Rob Gronkowski out there who's kept himself in great shape? You know what I mean? Like, I'm with you on that, Susie. I think that 100% makes sense.
Yeah, throw Will Blackman out there. Throw some of these guys out there who still look like they can play and who still look, you want to see Aaron Darnold play. He can play because he's out. But
right.
I think that's actually an interesting idea to like use that as a pivot.
I can remember having this conversation with Joe Flacco. I think it was last year during the season after one of the Colts wins, and Joe said to me, he was like, "Well, I'm going to be able to throw till I'm 50. I know that." You know what I mean? He's like, "I probably won't be able to move the same way anymore when I'm 48, 49, 50 years old, but I'll be able to throw for a long time to come." And so you could find a quarterback too, I'm sure, that could still really throw it, who is out of the league. So I think there would be ways to do it. I think the question then becomes like, okay, like, is that enough to amplify the event? Like, do you need current, or is the NFL going to be really pushy about that part of it where it's like, no, we want to amplify this and make it as big as we possibly can. So we need the biggest stars possible in it. And how all of that works, we'll see.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.